Hello students, welcome to the new session. So let's start with a quick revision. We did in the last class, we did types of commands and we also covered the display command, zooming drawings. Alright, the different types of commands which I discussed with you in the last class were draw commands, modify commands, only the headings. I did not go into detail because we will be learning gradually all the commands within these major categories. Drawing commands, which helps you in drawing objects, modify commands, which modifies drawn objects, edit commands, which is included in your modify panel, like copy, move, erase, edits your objects. Then you have display control commands, like zoom, which we discussed in the last class, zoom, pan, alright. We also have drawing aids like grid, snap, ortho, osnap. And then we also discuss about the independent commands like layers, blocks, dimensioning, etc. Alright. So today we'll be covering a very important topic, that is how to set units, the type of the format and the precision in your drawing. And this is the first step whenever you open a new session or a new drawing. And before starting your drawing or your project, you need to set your workspace. For that, there are 3 steps. First and the foremost is the units, alright, the drawing units. You have to set the drawing units. The second step is the drawing limits, which we'll be discussing today itself. And the third step is zoom. Basically, after setting your workspace, you need to zoom into it. You need to regenerate the model, alright. So basically in AutoCAD, the drawing unit dialog box, this is a dialog box which appears when I want to set the units, okay. This enables you to set the type and precision of the units you will be drawing in. Alright. Options within the drawing unit dialog box controls 2 types of unit display, length and angle. So you can select the type and precision of length and type and precision of angle. Alright. This unit settings affect basically the display of the coordinates on the status bar, I've already shown you the drawing coordinates on the status bar, and the format for entering coordinates, different distances, angles at the command line. Alright. So basically it will affect the 2 parts. Basically, this is the base of how to draw. Accordingly, you will use the format, like if you're working in architecture, you're working in metric. We'll be discussing now. Fine. AutoCAD has 5 different measurements in this. Okay. I'll show you in CAD itself so that you are clear. For making the dialog box appear in front of me, I have to invoke the units command. For that, I can go to application menu. Here you have drawing utilities. You can go to units. Otherwise, you can enter in your command line UN. The units will be the first one. Click or UN, press enter. This is the dialog box which will appear in front of you. So here we can change the type and precision of length and angle. Alright. This drawing unit dialog box gives you 5 different dimension report formats. Alright. Architectural, decimal, engineering, fractional and scientific. Alright. Each type is basically designated for a specific purpose. Now you have to determine which units you want in order to create your drawing. You want metrics, you want inches, alright? Yeah, but remember, you can always change your unit format at any time in a drawing session. Alright, you come back to units, select the drop down menu and change it. Whenever you click on any of the format, see, it will be shown in the sample output. Like if I click on architectural, now the sample output is showing me. Basically, architectural is about inches and fits. By default, it takes inches. 1.5 inch, 3 inches, less than 45 inches. Alright. So in this, when I select architectural, so I also have to see that my insertion scale, that is unit to scale inserted content, should be in inches. Do not click on fit. By default, it should be inches. Sometimes your AutoCAD software takes it, sometimes it does not, so you have to change it into inches. The precision basically is about how minute detailing you want in your drawing. In architecture, it comes in fraction, 1/2 inches till 1/4 inches till 1/6 inches. Till how many minute detailing you want to show in your drawing. All right. Like by default, we can select 1/16 inches. Now, the second one is, yes, and one more thing to remember is, basically, this architectural units are used for residential and commercial purposes, like the planning and construction of residential and commercial areas. So these are used majorly by interior designers, architects. All right. Now, the decimal units gives you units such as like 1.75 or 2.3. So decimal units. These are basically for mechanical drafting. And when you go into precision, AutoCAD, you can see here can go to a maximum of 8 decimal place. And yes, decimal is it by default format selected by AutoCAD. Okay. So when you have to work in decimal, you need not change the format. It will by default work in that. Okay. So you can select like here it is been selected till 4 points, 4 decimal points. And now the precision will definitely go to millimeters. All right. The third one is engineering. In engineering, the dimensions are again given in fits, inches, and decimal parts as well. For example, you can give 6 feet, 5.25 inches. This engineering is used basically for all the primary drafting of civil and different engineering, basically primary for civil drafting, and also detailed construction drawings and topographical maps for planning and constructing highways and harbors, basically all the civil drafting projects. See, the precision is also into fits, then in point decimals and inches, including all the three. Now fractional is in fractions, 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, all the fraction measurements. All right. Now the last one is scientific. Here the dimensions are given as a real number raised to a power of 10, and you can use the scientific notation to represent any system of measures when working with very large numbers, which you cannot cover through your architecture or decimal. All right. Okay. So next is angle measurement. In this again we have type and precision, and AutoCAD has 5 formats. The first one is decimal degrees. Decimal degrees is basically displays the angular measurements as real numbers with up to 8 decimal places. This is again by default the type of AutoCAD in angle measurement. The second one is degree, minutes, and seconds. You can select the precision as per requirement. Then third is grads. It displays the angle measurement in grads. Basically 90 degrees is equal to 100 grads. Okay. It appears as G. See, it again has till 8 decimal places. Next is radians. Here you will find this R, a lowercase r appears in it. Okay. So basically a radian is equal to 180 pi degrees. Then the last one is surveyor units. It displays the angular measurements in degrees, minutes, and seconds together with quadrant bearings. Alright. So this is also till 8 points. Remember one thing, surveyor units are based on a circle divided into 4 quadrants, which I already shown you in within the last few sessions. So no angular value can be greater than 90 degrees. Alright, it's always below 90 degrees. I'll show you the figures through which I'll explain you. See, these are the angles. So how do they write? This angle is measured from south. So S 50 degree east, from south towards east. Here 60 degree from north. So N 60 E. When I'm bearing the angle measured from north, so north 75 west. This is how they specify the angle. Alright. And we have already studied how we measure angles counterclockwise, starting from the positive X. So this is the positive angle. When you go towards the other side, that will be the negative angle. Alright, we have already discussed this. Now, there is one more thing. If you want to go clockwise, you can click on this checkbox. Now, angle direction can also be controlled by you. You can change it. By default, it is taken as E. That's why 0 degrees in the east side. You can click on north, west, and south. Accordingly, the angle will rotate. If you select north, then 0 degrees will start from north. Okay, so that's upon you. And the last information which is given here, which you can change, is lighting. This is basically used when you do renders. So it is basically the unit for specifying the intensity of light. Like here, it is given only in international and American standards. Right? It controls the intensity of photometric lights, which is there in your AutoCAD software. All right. We are not going to discuss this as of now because we're working in 2D right now. All right. That's all in units. So you can start from the application menu or type command units or UN enter. This is a dialog box which we discussed. The format, that is the type and precision of length and angle. The how to specify the angle format, I've already shown you. Angle also has the 5 types. This is an example of surveyor units. Okay. You can also set the direction for angle measurements. I had shown you the direction control dialog box. We have already discussed this. This is here in the dialog box, if you see. Insertion scale, basically. Alright. So the block will also change the same scale. Alright. Sample output. It is a sample when you change your type. It is shown here, the preview basically. And last one, the lighting, we have already discussed. Alright. Now this is the assignment. You should try after setting your units. Alright. Start point and then go on drawing your lines. You can use any of the coordinate system you want to use. Alright. You can use direct or you can use relative. The basic purpose of giving you this assignment is you have to set your units as per the drawing specification. So you have to see it has to be architectural or it has to be decimal. You study the assignment and accordingly set the units. Alright. So now the next thing is setting the limits of a drawing. So setting the limits of a drawing means basically, as I already told you, the AutoCAD represents the working drawing as unlimited. Basically, it's endless. So you have to set a limit in your workspace in which area you want to work in. Alright. Otherwise, AutoCAD can shut down, or it will show errors, it will stuck. Your zoom in, zoom out will stuck because you have not limited your workspace within a particular space. So how to set these limits? And before that, how to calculate this limit? This is very important for you to understand. Now, why and how will you decide which should be the my factor to set the limit? Like for example, the actual drawing. First of all, you already set, you have to draw in architecture or metric. You have already decided. Now, when you have decided the units, now you in order to decide your limits, you need to see how big your drawing is. Alright, and other than that, what all drawings are associated with that? For example, I will show this example. There is a figure here, there is a plan here, and then it has 2 elevations to it, I can say. So, in order to draw this elevation also, I need to see, I should not set my limits just keeping in mind the plan. And again, the gap between the 2 drawings as well. Alright. So if my, for example, here my plan is of 5 units by 5 units, this object, then I keep a distance of 3 units, and then I have an elevation here, and then the other elevation I'll keep 4 units. So basically, and from I have a border here, alright, and from this, this is my sheet size basically. So from this sheet size, I have to keep a distance of 5 from both the sides. And from below, I have kept a different distance of 3 units, and from above, I've kept the unit distance of 2 units. So accordingly, I'll add 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus like this example. So like this, in this example, the area taken for limits is 23 by 17 is your required area. So you have basically given the limits of 24 by 18. You do not have to go into exact areas 23 and have to take. You can just take like 25 by 20. The limits very close to it. So, for example, I'll give you another example. Like you are drawing 50 yards plan of a particular house or a flat. So accordingly, you know, if you're drawing your other drawings in different 50 yards area, now you know you have to make 4 elevations or 2 elevations, or you have to make some working drawings for it. So accordingly, you will set your drawing like I can use overall calculation I can use it if my plan is for 50 yards, 50 square feet basically. It comes to if I say on an average 10 by 50. Just a simpler calculation. It's 10 by 50. So I have to see 50 is my length. So my length area, my worksheet as length should be more than my height area, width area. Alright. So I'll calculate accordingly. Then I have my elevations. You can draw a small sketch out of it in your paper and according so that you do not stuck your drawing while zooming in and zooming out while you're doing your detailing. It does not get a problem. But yes, you have a plus point that you can anytime if you feel that your set drawing limits are less and you have to draw some more because of the client has demanded. So you can go, there is a command which helps you to reset your limits. Alright, I'll also tell you that today. Okay, so now I hope you are clear with this example. Okay, so this is how you set your limits. For that you can go to menu bar and go to formats and click on drawing limits, or you can also type limits in your command line. Alright, when you type limits, now I'll show you in AutoCAD. Okay, you can go to format and then go to drawing limits and click, or you can also type LIMITS and enter. Okay, before that I'll set my units. As of now I'll set on architectural. Units to scale as inches. Okay, angle as decimal degree and precision 0. Here I'll keep my precision as 1 by 16. Alright, that's all. Okay, now second part of my formatting is LIMITS, limits. Now the first question it asks me is specify lower left corner. Always remember the lower left corner of your workspace or your drawing is your UVCS, that is the origin. It should always be 0. If you can see, here you can see this is the already set limits or already set dimensions by AutoCAD in this less than and greater than angle. If it is 0, 0 given 0 feet 0 inches, you can just press enter. If it is something else, then you need to again specify 0 feet 0 inches, comma 0 feet 0 inches as x, comma y. Okay. Here it is already 0, so I'll press enter. Now the next question it asked me is specify upper right corner. So this is my upper right corner. I had shown you in this figure. This is my lower left corner, that is origin. This is my upper right corner, which the limits I want to set. So for example, I'll set as 20 feet, comma 15 feet, because I just want to draw some objects. But see, there are no changes in my workspace. For that, I have to regenerate my model. So I'll press Z, enter, A, zoom all, means zoom into my, show me the area set by me, so zoom all. So this is my workspace of 20 feet by 15 feet. You can see here, this is a set line. This is my workspace. If I work outside this, the AutoCAD will create some errors and it will stuck. Alright. One more thing. Sometimes you may do a mistake while setting your limits. Sometimes by doing typing fast, students do a mistake like typing your limits in lower left corner option. So you can check in the command line whenever after giving the third, that is zoom all, this regenerating model should be written in your command line. If it is not there, means you have done any of this above steps, that is units, limits, and zoom, you have done any mistake. The limits are not set. Okay. And there is one more command, that is which I said, through which you can change and also check the set limits by you. That is Limax, Limax, Limax. This you have to type complete, or when you start typing, it shows in the suggestion line. Here it is written, enter the new value for Limax. See, the set value is 20 feet by 15 feet. So means my limits were set. Okay, I can change it into like 25 feet, comma, or I'll reduce. Now my 25 is locked. So if I want to again go back, so I have to escape the command. So 25 feet by 15 feet is my new set. Just enter. Now I'll type again to check. See, my new value is 25 feet by 15 feet. Okay, you can anytime change your limits through here. Again, Z enter, A enter. See, now the grid has become more small. Okay, you can set your, as I said, you can set your limits for architectural drawings and metric drawings. For this, you can set your scale also. You have to set your scale, and accordingly, you have to set your sheet size. Majorly, we work on 1/4 scale. Sometimes we work on 1/8 also. So accordingly, you can set your limit scale, and you can also set the sheet size accordingly. Okay, there is one simple way of calculating limits in your architectural drawings. Like for example, I said ki basically if you are working on 1/4 scale, so 1/4 means 1/4 is equal to 1 feet, right? So means 1/4 is equal to 12 inches. So 1 inch is equal to 48 inches. All right. So according to this, the scale factor will be 48. So for example, if your sheet size is in simpler words 10 by 10. All right. So if your sheet size is 10 by 10, so now x limit would be 10 into 48, 480, and y limit also will be 10 into 48 is equal to 480. So here the scale factor is 48, and accordingly the limits will be 480 by 480. All right. Or you can, that is in inches, you can convert it into fits as well by dividing by 12. All right. So this is the way of calculating limits in architectural drawings. All right. Now you can also set your limits in metric drawings. Now here in metric drawings, basically our scale is like 1:20. Okay, 1:10. So these are the basic scale factors. So here again, if 1:20 is the scale factor, so my 1:20 is my scale, so scale factor would be 20. So if you're setting again, like I've given example 10 by 10, so your x limit will be 20 into 10 and y limit also 20 into 10. But those are units in meters. When you're working in metric drawings, you have to convert them into mm. So you also have to multiply them with 25.4, both x unit and y unit also. So that will be 200 into 25.4 and 200 into 25.4. That comes to 5080 for both the limits. All right. So that's a simple example of setting limits. So you can always calculate your limits if you're doing an architectural drawing as per the scale, and in metric drawings as well. All right. So according to the scale, you can set your limits. That's all. This is the assignment 6. Calculate the limits and accordingly see the scale factor of the drawing sheet. If you're, you can select your scale factor and accordingly calculate the limits and set this. Okay. You need to submit these assignments. Okay. So in the next session, we will give a quick revision for all the 3 points which we covered: units, limits, and Limax as well. And we will continue with the new tool, that is circle tool. Okay. Thank you, students, and do practice.